This week we've been talking about how wireless technology is changing our lives. Today we look at how GPS has got us going in the right direction. Joining me now in studio is Internet and e-commerce expert Tim Richardson. Tim, good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
So I guess we better start with what GPS stands for.
Global Positioning System, or Global Positioning Satellites. These are satellites revolving around the Earth at about 12,000 miles up. And the purpose was originally developed by the U.S. military to allow specific location information for weapons platforms and moving and tracking and things like that. GPS is actually a general term. What most people use on their little handheld devices is what we call SPS, Standard Positioning System.
Okay.
We also have PPS, which is Precise Positioning System. And a new technology developed called AGPS, Assisted GPS. So if you're inside a building, they triangulate based on a cell phone network. So even though right now we're inside, we can't get the signal, we can also have the triangulation from the cell phone network to find where we are within buildings as well.
It's amazing, too, how all this technology has become so accessible, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And still you're sitting there on the DVP going 20 miles an hour.
Well, that's the bottom line. Exactly. That's the other thing. GPS, show us a little bit about how, I know you've got a bit of a display.
Well, here's my notebook computer, and we use these in combination. This is the actual unit here, which I carry around.
Okay.
But what it's possible to do is load these maps on a notebook computer and then plot yourself. So this is where the CTV building is right here. And then you can use this for a number of things. For example, finding out where you are, which is the most obvious thing, but also be able to get from one location to another. And with these technologies, we're now able to download these little route maps, put them on these devices, and then carry them around, plot track points, and so on.
This is not the same type of GPS that you use when you're driving in your car, which is a device simply with preloaded maps to allow you to navigate existing streets. What I'm demonstrating here is a system where you have the maps loaded on your notebook computer, and then by using the device that I'm holding in my hand, you can identify where you are walking or driving or riding a bike or whatever it might be, and then you can record these directions and then load it onto the notebook later on and see where you've actually gone, or you can identify waypoints and so on.
In listening to you, I think there's also a privacy issue here.
Yes.
Because of the very nature of the system.
These devices, I mean, this is quite a large size, but the chip and the software can be put in many types of things. You can put it in excavation equipment, so if somebody's renting a bulldozer, you can find out, where it was taken, if it was stolen.
This has been a particularly good application for GPS to prevent people from stealing things and taking them a far distance out of jurisdiction. Beginning in the United States and then later on in Canada, what happened was people started to put GPS devices in expensive equipment that had to be outside of the reach of security people. So if you were building a subdivision and you had some expensive bulldozers or excavation equipment and you didn't necessarily have a way of locking up a bulldozer because someone could just smash the window and get inside at a remote location, they could put GPS in it, and then if the bulldozer is missing, they can track the location and have the police get involved.
There's a guy in the States, Isaac Daniels, who put them in running shoes so people can buy them for the children and find out where their kids are, and a number of different things like that.
Do you see it as an invasion of privacy?
Well, it depends on how it's applied. For example, if you were going to rent a car and you didn't know it had GPS in it, and you crossed over the border between one province and another and then went back, and they charged you extra for crossing interprovincial barrier or something, you didn't know that, you might consider that privacy. Or if an employer puts one in your car and then wants to ask you why you're going to a certain location on your lunch hour, that could be a privacy issue.
So maybe it's an issue of letting the employees know or letting the people know, consumers know that it's there?
Yes, we also use it for security concerns in order to track, packages and things like that as well.
And there's so many different systems. You talked about a couple of them, but what's the difference between the GPS you'd find, say, on your BlackBerry or the GPS that you see in a cab or, I guess, even in a golf course?
Well, they're all the same using the SBS system. The difference would be in how the software downloads different maps of different high-resolution quality.
Okay.
Whether the maps are updated on a regular basis, whether you can track, whether you've got routes that you can store in memory. Just like a cell phone. I mean, some cell phones can take pictures, but you can still make a call whether or not your cell phone's got pictures.
Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Very interesting.